Some of the first places that come to mind when thinking of a vacation to Europe are the bustling cities of Paris, London, and Rome. Each of these cities is amazing, but they do not represent the entirety of what Europe has to offer. It is possible to witness a more true, traditional aspect of Europe by visiting some of the smaller towns around the continent. Welcome to Around the World. Today, we'll be looking at the most beautiful medieval towns in Europe. Are you a fan of our channel? Be sure to subscribe to Around the World and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Number 25. Girona. A lovely walled medieval area with narrow cobblestone passageways, balcony buildings, and shaded tiny squares can be found in this elegant provincial capital. A long lane of charming pastel-colored cottages clings to the banks of the river Aniar as it flows through the heart of town. The ancient Roman wall, which was built in the 1st century BC, was rebuilt on the foundation of the old structure in the mid-1300s. The historic towers are still accessible to visitors. The old Jewish district, as well as the cathedral and the 14th century Gothic church, are historically significant. Number 24. Mostar. Mostar, Bosnia, and Herzegovina are known for their old bridge across the Neretva River. In fact, the name Mostar comes from the word Mostari, which means bridge keeper. The bridge was built in 1556 on the instructions of the invading Ottomans, but it was demolished by Croatian forces during the Balkan Wars 427 years later in 1983. Though Mostar is easily accessible by day from neighboring Croatia, staying overnight is the best way to get the most out of your visit. As the crowds of day trippers disperse, the restaurants that line the cobblestone streets high above the river begin to light up. Number 23. Delft. Delft is a popular day trip destination from Amsterdam, so it's simple to see why it's so appealing. The city is quaint and calm, with its lovely medieval core and picturesque canals crossed by bridges and flanked with trees. Many have sung its glories throughout the ages, including its most famous son, the painter Johannes Vermeer. Visiting the Delftware factories, which are famous for their distinctive blue and white tiles and ceramics, is popular with tourists, but despite its multitude of lovely ancient buildings, it is the mood rather than any particular attraction that makes it worth visiting. Number 22. Brasov. With the Carpathian Mountains as a backdrop, Brasov's lovely landscape is nicely complemented by its picturesque medieval core, which hems it in on all sides. It's not without cause that this is one of Romania's most popular tourist spots. Wandering through the fairy-tale-like Old Town, passing by magnificent Baroque palaces, Gothic churches, and medieval watchtowers is a delightful way to spend the day. If you just want to get a coffee and watch the world go by, the main square boasts plenty of cafes and restaurants. Number 21. Assisi. A drive from Rome to Umbria's gorgeous hill country will take you to the medieval town of Assisi, where you may visit important religious monuments, Roman ruins, and artistic splendor. The Church of St. Francis, the everlasting burial place of Italy's patron saint, is the town's principal attraction. The majority of the town's cobblestone alleys lead to this lovely church, where you may marvel at the gorgeous architecture and internal ceilings, which are adorned with stunning frescoes that encircle the basilica. You'll come across several interesting medieval houses and shops. Number 20. Bern. Bern is a beautiful medieval city with a long history dating back to the 12th century. Its most notable site is an antique clock tower with moving puppets that previously functioned as the city's western gate, despite the fact that it did not become a part of the Swiss Confederacy until the 16th century. The Munster, a Gothic cathedral that rises from the old town and its town hall, is another prominent attraction in Bern. Bern's symbol is the bear, and several are housed in an open-air pit. Shoppers will enjoy the old town, which has 4 miles of arcades, making it one of Europe's longest retail districts. Number 19. Ases. Ases is a fortified medieval village perched 1,400 feet above sea level with breathtaking views of the Mediterranean Sea. Ases is a beautiful and attractive village with bougainvillea-covered mansions and cobblestone lanes. It's a bit of a climb to the top of the village with its narrow cobblestone streets, but it's well worth it. You'll be rewarded with a lovely cactus garden and breathtaking views of the Mediterranean once you reach the summit. Visit the medieval church with its Egyptian cross, which was built to commemorate the Venetian temple that originally stood on the site. Number 18. Tallinn. Tallinn, Estonia's capital, entices visitors with its 14th century old town, which was designed as a defense system. You can feel the history as soon as you enter through the beautiful medieval Võru gates. Parts of Tallinn's city wall can still be walked along, with windows that provide views of the picturesque city below. There are other historic churches dating back to the 1200s, such as St. Olaf's Church. Tallinn also has a hipster side, which can be found in a reclaimed factory district filled with fashionable restaurants, pubs, and stores. Number 17. Heidelberg. Heidelberg is a renowned tourist destination, with historic treasures such as the medieval Old Bridge and the Church of the Holy Spirit in the Knight St. George residence. Pubs, restaurants, museums, art galleries, stores, and marketplaces line Main Street in the city center, offering beer, steins, cuckoo clocks, and German sausages. Heidelberg Law Academy is Germany's oldest university. Its history may be followed along the Philosopher's Walk, a lovely trail used by many early philosophers and lecturers. Number 16. Cesky Krumlov. Cesky Krumlov is located in the Czech Republic's South Bohemia area. This city is incredibly gorgeous, with orange-tiled rooftops and the lovely Vltava River's riverside, all flanked by green rolling hills. The town, which is made up of Renaissance and Baroque buildings, is dominated by a magnificent 13th century castle that should not be missed for its pure charm and beauty. Come in the summer and remain until the sun sets to see the bustling city come alive with bars and restaurants. Number 15. Ravage. Ravage jets into the Adriatic Sea from the west coast of the Istrian Peninsula. More than 15,000 people crowded into this teeny-tiny village on the peninsula's edge. Ravage, unlike many other aging Croatian cities, lacks fortifications. The residences on the outskirts of the ring have front doors that open right up to the water. The old town is a renowned tourist destination with 4-star hotels and restaurants serving delicious seafood. Ravage is still a working fishing port. Take a day trip to the adjacent Ravage archipelago to get away from the tourists. Number 14. York. York is a really historic site with an astonishing array of architectural relics dating back to the Roman, medieval, and even Viking periods. As visitors meander through the city's cobblestone streets, a plethora of interesting attractions compete for their attention. York Minster, a dominating stone church filled with amazing pieces of art, is one of the city's landmarks. The historic Clifford's Tower, erected by William the Conqueror and renovated by Henry III in the 13th century, offers panoramic views of the city. Number 13. Carcassonne. The old fortified city of Carcassonne is located in the Languedoc-Roussillon area. The city has a history of around 2,500 years and joined France in the mid-13th century. It was once the hub of the French woolen textile industry, but because of a 19th century restoration project, it is now a popular tourist destination. Number 12. Ronda. Ronda is one of Spain's oldest cities, situated in and around a deep gorge. In the 1400s, its practically impregnable position made it a bulwark against Catholic forces. The Puente Nouveau Bridge, which spans the 30-story high gorge and was completed in 1793, is one of the city's most remarkable attractions. The architecture of the city was influenced by the Romans and Moors who formerly governed the region. The 3 separate bridges that span the canyon and the river are a large part of the town. The most fascinating is the Puente Nouveau Bridge, which is made of stone and even has a small museum. Number 11. Kalmar. Kalmar, which is located in the Alsace area, has changed hands multiple times over the course of its history due to its proximity to Germany. Tourists came to the area because of its gorgeous old town, which blends twisting cobblestone alleys with lovely canals and unique buildings that line its streets. There are churches and museums all over the place, with the Eisheim altarpiece being particularly impressive. Take advantage of the opportunity to experience some of Calmer's finest wines, as it is in the wine area. Number 10. Abydos. Abydos is surrounded by an old fortified wall and is located on a hilltop in the central region of western Portugal. Aside from the wall, Abydos' spectacular medieval castle and historic center are the city's principal attractions, both of which are easily walkable. Visitors are guided through a maze of narrow cobblestone alleyways through bustling squares, appealing cafes, modest shops, and whitewashed buildings adorned with colorful flowers. The castle, with its towering architecture, massive gates, and towers, is now a luxury hotel, but it is still a sight to behold. Number 9. Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik, on the Adriatic Sea in southern Croatia, is known for its old town. During the Balkan conflicts in 1991, this walled medieval town was shelled, but it has since been restored to its former beauty. Take a stroll through the old city walls and be enchanted by the Baroque architecture, or spend a quiet afternoon at one of the city's many street-side restaurants. The old town has also earned notoriety as a filming set for Game of Thrones and Star Wars, demonstrating how legendary the old wild city truly is. Number 8. Halstead. Halstead, on the banks of the Hallstätter Sea or Lake Halstead, is one of Austria's most attractive places. People have been lured to Halstead for thousands of years because of its salt mines. The scenery, on the other hand, is now a big motivation to visit. Mountains rise directly behind the placid mountain lake, and everything from caverns to waterfalls can be found within a short walk of Hallstad's lovely old city center. Number 7. San Gimignano. San Gimignano del Beltori, a little medieval village dating from the 8th century, is about an hour away by car or bus from Florence. It is the most well-known of the country's tiny towns. San Gimignano has 14 of the original 72 medieval turrets, which overlook gorgeous olive groves and vineyards. Visitors who want to experience medieval Tuscany can go to San Gimignano and take a stroll along the small cobblestone alleyways. The tower symbolizes the ancient tradition of wealthy families fighting for prestige by erecting large structures. Number 6. Bruges. Perfect in every way, the historic streets of Bruges are a joy to walk through. Its charming cobblestone lanes give way to cafe-lined squares and meandering canals, while medieval church spires soar above it all. It is known as the Venice of the North and is the most popular tourist destination in Belgium. While it is undeniably beautiful, it can become overrun with tourists, so try to visit during the week if at all feasible. You'll find ambient taverns and cafes tucked among the city's lanes, great for drinking some of Belgium's finest beers while wandering about this charming city. Number 5. Rothenberg. Rothenberg is a fortified city in Bavaria situated on a terrace above the Tauber River. The town is known for its extraordinarily well-preserved medieval core, which looks like something out of a fairy tale. Visit the town hall, which has served as the center of city governance since medieval times. Climb the steps of a 13th century Hall's Tower for spectacular city vistas. Rothenberg is also known for its year-round Christmas retailers and for hosting an amazing Christmas market every December. Number 4. Mont St Michel. This historically fortified island can be found about a kilometer off the coast of Normandy, France. It's possible that walking around Mont St Michel will make you feel as if you've been transported to another era. The monastery on this site dates from the 8th century and is still in use today. Exploring the historic walls and chapels is a fascinating experience. The island seems to be a floating fortification in the sea when the tide is high. The island was formerly only accessible by foot or automobile during low tide, but thanks to a bridge erected in 2014, it can now be reached at any time. Number 3. Kotter. The walled town of Kotter lies snuggled into the steep hillsides surrounding the deep canals of the Bay of Kotter and is considered one of the best preserved medieval settlements on the Adriatic coast. While the architecture of Cotta represents the different dynasties that ruled the region, it is most renowned for its Venetian-style Old Town, which is dominated by St. Trophan's Cathedral from the 12th century. The carved stone altar in the church is an amazing example of Cotta's Middle Ages masonry talents. Hardy hikers will be rewarded with stunning views of the city and Deepwater Bay if they trek up the higher town walls to Cotta's mountaintop stronghold. Number 2. Toledo. Toledo, perched on a mountaintop in central Spain, functioned as the Spanish capital until the 16th century, owing to its long history of habitation by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. The city is known as the City of Three Cultures on occasion. Toledo is now a renowned tourist destination due to its extensive collection of historic art and architecture dating back to the Roman Empire. The finest thing to do in Toledo is get lost in the medieval streets and observe the beautiful cathedrals, synagogues, and mosques. Number 1. Siena. With its well-preserved ancient city and medieval horse racing heritage, Siena, situated on 3 hills in the heart of Tuscany, transports visitors back to the Middle Ages. The ancient core of Siena is one of the most famous tourist destinations in Tuscany, and it still has many of the period's most beautiful works of art and architecture. The Piazza del Campo in Siena is considered one of Europe's most beautiful medieval squares. The Fountain of Joy, the Palazzo Pubblico, and the Mangia Tower are among the architectural gems in this fan-shaped plaza. Siena's Duomo, a beautiful black and white cathedral with Italian Romanesque architecture, is another architectural wonder. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other videos for great travel destinations, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about our latest videos.